Hi everyone, welcome to our new episode, and not just new episode, but new studio. We have a new beautiful background thanks to Kes and Joel. So please, when you're at home, a big round of applause for them.
I wish I knew which one the track was for that, but I don't want to find out.
I think it's there you go. See, we're finding out a lot of new things. We wanted to start the new year with new episodes, a new atmosphere. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it for January, but I think February, it's a really good month to start because it's the month of love.
As you can see from
As you can
Lula's
see.
outfit.
Yes, it's the month to be pink. To be pink,
Purple.
and purple and, all rosy colors and everything. So with that in mind, we're going to start today's episode with love languages. We're going to talk about what are our love languages. And we are going to take a quick quiz online. You can just Google it. It's 5 languages of love. And I believe the website should be 5languagesoflove.com, and it should take you to the quiz. I took it a couple weeks ago, and it should be fairly short.
Yeah.
However, if you want to do it while we're doing it, that would be great. We are going to take it right now as we speak.
So take it with us.
Yeah.
We are going to speed it up in the video, so for those of you that are just going to watch. But we will link the test on the description if you want to go ahead and take it again with us.
Yes. So without further ado, let's begin.
Let's get started.
Let's get started.
Now, are we doing, because here it gives me an option. It says romantic, family, friendships, and workplace.
Oh, wow.
Options, or does it just say start for you?
For me, it says start.
Okay, so I guess I'll choose friendships, given
right.
that this podcast is a lot about friendships and relationships. So I'll do that one. And let's get started. And we're back. And we have our results. So, what did you score the highest?
Oh my God, I am surprised.
It's going to be gifts.
I am really surprised because I just talked about it and I did not think that this was my forte. Turns out physical touch.
We talked about this earlier today, and I was like, no, I feel like physical touch is your love language because I feel like you're very affectionate.
But that's so weird because with my family, I wouldn't say I'm the type to go hug and kiss and everything.
Maybe because it's not a norm per se with your family, but that doesn't mean that that's not who you are, like in a relationship. That's probably how you will be. Or are you affectionate with your nieces and nephews?
I am, very much. Yes.
Maybe it's just a sister thing.
Me. I love you. I love you guys. I love you, girl. So I scored 33% on that one.
Whoa, that's pretty high.
Pretty high. I'm really surprised. I
feel like I was pretty well-rounded in the sense. Like I feel because like, a lot of the questions were geared towards someone who's in a relationship.
Right.
So I was putting into perspective what I enjoy most.
What would you value most?
Right?
Yes.
What I value most. And so I think that I've changed because I think the first thing when I was single was words of affirmation. And then it was quality time. Whereas right now I scored 27% in quality time. And it makes sense because I think I appreciate quality time more now than ever.
Right.
As opposed to it just being about me, if that makes sense. Not that words of affirmation is not something that you should have, but I think I appreciate being with someone.
Right.
And then I scored 23% words of affirmation. So they're very close. 27 quality time, 23% words of affirmation. Wow. What did you score next?
I scored 20% in quality time.
Okay.
That
makes sense.
That makes sense. That one, yeah, I do enjoy having fun. Just
I mean, you could say that the podcast is us
quality
having
time.
Quality
yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. What about the third one?
Acts of service.
Words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation. Yeah. Okay. And then for me, it was 23%. So 23% acts of service and 23% words of affirmation.
Oh, so those were...
I tied there. And then physical touch was 20%.
Oh, I tied with words of affirmation and acts of service.
Okay, so we both tied in that.
Yeah.
Like we both value it, but they're neither greater nor less.
Less. And then my last one, receiving gifts.
Receiving gifts. I appreciate it, but I wouldn't equate it to a love.
Mm.
You know, whereas I feel that there are some people that genuinely feel loved when they receive gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think what this says, like when it comes to physical touch, I enjoy embraces.
Right.
I love embraces. I love a good hug, especially when I'm crying, when I'm in, distress, or I'm feeling stressed. Like a good embrace, I really enjoy. But I wouldn't say that I am particularly affectionate with other people outside of my husband, because the most that I really give of myself to other people is a hug.
True.
I don't, like, even with you, I don't touch you. Like, I might put my arm around her, or like
I touch you more than you touch
me
me.
more than I do.
In a good sense, guys.
But yeah, like I don't.
Like, I'll caress your hair, I'll touch your back, I'll touch your hand. Yeah, the other day I tried to touch your earlobe. You did not like it, so I'm like, okay.
I think because for me, like, for example, the only person I hold hands with outside of my husband is my sister. That's it. I've never felt that comfort from holding someone's hand that wasn't my sister, and so I don't do it. And I think because the earlobe is just something that I've never experienced with anybody, it was very like new territory of like, wait, what are we doing right now? So
we've held hands before though, sporadically.
But we've never like I've shopped
holding hands with my sister. Okay.
I've literally gone places and just held her hand, or like a slight squeeze is like a touch, or like we've watched movies holding hands.
Okay.
That's a different level of intimacy that I've had.
Very different.
But see, like with Joel, I don't even do that. I don't hold hands watching a movie with Joel. I'll put my arms through, but that's about it.
That's about it. Oh, okay. No, I think I just I think Kelly brings that out of me because she's very about physical touch. I wouldn't say that's her love language, at least not a primary one, but she's very much like she'll shop holding someone's hand.
Oh, she would.
Oh yeah,
okay.
she would. No, she's one of those. She'll if we're walking on the street, she'll hold my hand and everything. I have more of an issue with it only because I feel like people might look at us like, because we live in a society where it's like, oh my God, and everything. And especially because she wants to interlock.
I don't interlock.
Yeah, and to me that's kind of like, no, I want to do that with my boyfriend, with my husband, not with you. So I mean, I shared it with her and she's like, okay, fine. So she'll still want to hold it.
Yeah.
But she doesn't interlock anymore. But I used to have a big issue with her interlocking fingers.
Are you more affectionate with your mom than your sisters?
By far.
Yeah.
That's
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. My mom doesn't like me rubbing her earlobe either. But okay, no one does.
I have to ask, who enjoys you rubbing their earlobe?
I'm still looking for someone that will, okay? Because
hopefully her husband.
Hopefully my husband, because it brings me comfort. It really does.
I don't understand how. It's an intimate place.
I know.
Close to their face.
Oh, I know. That's why I wouldn't do it with just anyone, any rando. No. I do with my nieces, with my nephews. When they were small, it was just like, oh my God, their little earlobes. And you know what I like? I like the softness of it. I like how soft they feel. And like I said, if it has peach fur, oh, it's just like, oh,
I can kind of understand, but I have a completely different reaction. Instead of wanting to touch it or caress it, I want to bite it.
Oh.
Yeah. Like to me, it's like a piece of flesh that te da ansia.
Oh, yeah. I get it. But to me, that brings me comfort. That and grabbing hair.
Again, with hair, it's very particular because I feel like whenever someone goes through my hair, one, I get self-conscious. because of my curls, I will have my hair won't like go through
Mm-hmm.
beautifully. So I feel like someone will get their hands stuck in my hair. So it's like,
Oh, nice hair.
mhm. But with my mom, I would say I'm very affectionate because she's really tiny,
Hmm.
and so I hold her hand or I'll hold her close to me, and so I'm affectionate with her. But yeah, beyond that, no.
No, no, no. With my mom, I feel like la empalago a mi mamá. Like there's been times where she's like, okay, like okay, enough.
So, given that we found our results, why would you say, like, what are some of the things that you feel you find value in your score? Are you still pondering, or can you find, no, I value this from this particular love language?
um,
Yours being obviously physical touch.
I'm still wondering why I got physical touch. If I'm being honest, like you said, I might be affectionate in that sense, but I wouldn't say that's my primary one.
I think it is. You know why? Because we're not always crying, guys. But there have been a lot of moments, I'll say of me, where her first response is to give me a hug. And I think that because it's your nature to give it, it's something that I think you enjoy.
No, I do enjoy being hugged. It's just I guess I'm trying to figure out if it's a good thing that I ranked so high up in that
Physical touch.
versus like other areas that I thought were more important. Like for example, I thought I thought for sure I was gonna get either quality time or acts of service as my two first ones because I feel like I would give more value to that. So to be met with, oh no, I enjoy physical touch, or I like that, especially 37%.
That was pretty high.
It's a huge difference between the 20% of
The other one.
the other ones. So I'm like, oh,
I think if you remove the fact that a lot of us think that sexual intimacy is what physical touch is all about, I think there's a lot of value in physical touch. Because I used to think like that. I used to think that if someone's love language is physical touch, that means it's just sexual. But it's
oh,
not. It's
no, no,
it's
no.
it's embraces, it's hugs, it's kisses, it's a
Mm-hmm.
simple nudge, it's a hand on the knee,
Mm-hmm.
it's all of that. And if you think about it, it's like, what do you do with your child? When you hold them, when you comfort them.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I see it in that perspective, to me, someone that has physical touch pretty high up in their rankings, I would just like, to me, me da ternura.
Mm.
Because, and see that, like my husband, we've done the test and he's always scored physical touch in the highest. And when we
Oh.
first got married, yeah, I'm being real. I thought, oh, okay, that's what it means.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. For him, it's like, even when we're driving, if my hand is on his lap, he
Mm-hmm.
feels secure.
Mm-hmm.
Or if we're just holding hands, he feels secure. Or if I put my hand behind him and I'm scratching his
Mm-hmm.
back, that interaction is like, I feel loved. I feel taken care of, And so I think that's what it is. A mí me da ternura because she does that with me. Every single time that I've cried or I'm pouring my heart out, within seconds she'll get up from her desk, or we're not always at work, with heavens, she'll get up from where she's at and she'll immediately hug me, and that feeling is amazing. I feel like I actually heal whenever you do that. And I think that if you receive that from a friend and eventually from a spouse, you will feel like, okay, I get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. I think I'm just like I did realize I liked physical touch more than I thought when the pandemic came. Like 2020, when we
Yes.
weren't able to say hi to each other,
True.
when we weren't able to hug, when we weren't even shake hands, I did feel it. I did realize, oh my God, I do like physical
You craved
touch.
it more than I did.
I did.
I didn't.
I did.
I missed it, but it was kind of like, okay.
No, I did like my first. Oh, we're not supposed to be hugging, and so I did realize. Oh, I'm more of a physical touch than I thought I was.
Mm-hmm.
But then I've always thought, okay, but quality time is probably better, or or acts of service sounds better, or whatever. So yeah, I think, and then I also because I don't feel like I've appreciated when people have hugged me or or
It depends from who.
depends from who. So maybe that's why I'm also like, man, have I been physical touch all this time and I just been
Lying to myself.
lying to myself and lying to others that I don't like it, you know? So yeah. But anyway, then that begs the question of, since you saw your results, do you think you receive that same love? And no, rather, the way you give it, is it the way you receive it?
Yes and no. I think that I don't know if you guys have ever read the book, but I do think you guys should read the book, The Five Languages of Love, not
Yes,
just take the
please.
quiz because it's really, really insightful. Um, I think that over time, I realized that that's how I loved people based off of the way that I wanted to love. Um, but I think that marriage forces you or molds you to pursue different avenues of loving someone
Right.
because you don't love the same. And that's something that the whole book is trying to explain, that a lot of marriages fail or a lot of relationships fail because we, for example, let's say you like receiving gifts, that's your love language. And a lot of people might think that that's superficial. But the thing about receiving gifts, it's not just that. It's not just, oh, I received, flowers on Valentine's Day and new watch or whatever and shoes. That's not what that is. For people who like receiving gifts, it's the thought. It's you went to work and you brought me my favorite chips. It's you went to a restaurant and you got me my favorite donuts or whatever. Like, it's not just material things. It's I was walking around, I went on a jog and I found this flower and I thought of how beautiful it was, and so it made me think of you.
Right.
That's the kind of person that likes receiving gifts. So if you read the book, you'll notice that each one of the love languages is not as superficial as they seem. Same thing with words of affirmation. People think that words of affirmation is just someone that likes to be said, you look beautiful and you're amazing and you're awesome. It's not just that.
No.
It's expressing to the other person, you are valuable to me, you matter to me, your existence matters. That's what it means. Um so I think that because of the book and because we both read it when we were engaged, I think it forced me to see, okay, first of all, I shouldn't be so hard on Joel if he doesn't always master loving me the way that I want him to, because he receives love in a different way,
Right.
or he appreciates love in a different way. And in the same way, I can't always go to what is comfortable to me. I need to find a way to do what makes him feel loved. So given that physical touch is clearly not one of my major strong suits, I've had to, in my
Develop that.
marriage, develop that. And it's funny because I thought, oh, physical touch is going to be so easy to me. Every woman wants to be kissed. Every woman wants to be hugged. But again, it's not just that. It's not just intimacy. It's the little things. So I would say I've learned more in my marriage than I have had in my relationships. So I think in my relationships, I still struggle to put that same effort as opposed to my marriage, because to me it's like that's priority one.
Of
Like,
course,
I
it
have
should
to
be.
make sure that that is set in stone. So I would say that because quality time is my love language, I'll probably default that with you, and I probably won't touch you. But I should. I probably should let her touch my earlobes because that's what makes her feel loved, So yeah, it's a long way to answer it, but yeah. Do you feel you love the way that the other person likes to be loved, or you love based off of what comes naturally to you?
I think I love based off of what comes naturally to me. Unfortunately, Kelly and I, we always get into an argument because Kelly, her love language is gifts. She's one of those that she'll be in the store and, oh, I saw this and I thought of you. I thought how good it would look on you, so I bought it. You know, and I like how you said that it's not superficial, because it's not superficial. For her, it's the thought behind it. For her, it's like, dude, it could literally be chips and I'll be content. The fact that you thought of me is what makes it up for me.
Yeah.
Right. And unfortunately for her, my mom's love language is not gifts. and mine is not gifts. So she has to deal with both of us loving her the way we like to be loved. And it's hard for her because, like, unfortunately, sometimes you expect the other person to some time, not often, but sometime, think of you of like the way she thinks of us. For example, um, uh, if she bought me something at the store because she thought it would look good on me. Not that she expects it right away, but every once in a while, like for example, I tell her, "Oh, I went to Forever 21." "Oh, really? What did you buy?" Y ya le digo todo lo que compré y le hace, "Oh," y sí veo que se queda como like, "Oh, no me compraste nada." And again, it's not that it's materialistic. It's just you didn't think of me. Yeah, you didn't think of me. And again, like she does it with very small things. Like she'll be in the swap meet and out of nowhere veo que llegan my favorite chips. And I'm like, "Oh my God, gracias." And she's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I thought of you. I know how much you like them." Y yo no. A mí se me va por acá arriba um, regalarle cosas.
Yeah.
Pero I'll say this too. Whenever we go out, I feel like I mean, I am the oldest. I am older than her, but I feel like I'm her husband in a way, because yo, ¿qué quieres? No, pues que esto okay. ¿A dónde quieres comer? No, pues que okay, yo pago. O sea, I take care of her, but I think, and she enjoys that too, but I think she likes the thought behind it, and we don't. And unfortunately, I'm not one to do that. Um, I am surprised that physical touch is there, but before today, I thought that for me, acts of kindness or acts of service, I'm sorry, and words of information were my top two. So, because that's how I give love. I might not buy Kelly a gift, pero like if she asks for a favor, yeah, I might not want to do it, and I might have an attitude, but I'll do it. Or words of information, maybe because I feel like words come sometimes easier to me. It's just like finding the right way to say to someone, "Oh, I'm here for you. I love you." And sometimes even silence, it's words of affirmation, when you're able to just let the other person, desahogarse y tú estás escuchando, and that's good too. But yeah, I feel like the majority of us, if you're not being intentional about the way you love and the way you receive love, we tend to love the way we like to be loved.
Yes. And I also think that most people wouldn't know this. I think that, like, I remember when we first were reading this and we were going through this with my mom and my dad, we were all kind of like, "Yeah, mom, like your quality time." And my dad was always acts of service, or rather, sorry, he was always receiving gifts. My dad was that person. Like, he would always find a way to get my mom flowers or something for Valentine's Day or for her birthday. He would write her a letter. I mean, it was his joy to not only receive gifts, but give gifts.
Give them.
And my mom, because that's not her love language, would have a hard time appreciating it to the fullest, because for her was like, tell me, why did you spend your money? Why did you spend? It's okay. Like, you don't have to buy me flowers. But because for him, it was a joy.
Right.
Like my dad, I kid you not, how many times it was just a coffee, just a McDonald's sandwich, just, like just a new tie, and sus pañitos for him was like, oh my gosh. My mom, though, was the kind of woman that I just want to hear about your day. So she would literally like, "Ay, mija, mija. Okay, hold on. She'll stop washing dishes. She'll stop doing what she's doing, and she'll come to the couch, or she'll go upstairs to the room. I want to hear everything, detail for detail. Tell me what happened." I'm like that. I would rather spend time with someone and just talk than, even though I've appreciated, my husband has done it before. He has cleaned, everything, and I've even cried. "Oh my God, you cleaned the whole house." But just the times that we're sitting and we're having a conversation, or we're just walking and we're talking, that is everything.
Yeah.
So I think that most people wouldn't know what their love language is, because you're talking about a couple who had been married for 40 years that didn't know, oh yeah, this is how I normally tend to show love and receive love, or I enjoy it if I receive it this way. So I think a lot of the times if people revert to that way is because they don't know, that there are love languages. There's different ways of loving.
Right. Do you think there's, speaking of different ways of loving, do you think there's other kinds of, because, okay, um, on Wednesday, I was having a conversation with two friends at church, and one of them said that her love language is cooking, that she likes to cook. Would that fall under acts of service?
I think it would.
Right?
Because
she was saying how, like, I just find joy in cooking for someone, for people I love.
Or that could be gifts.
That's what I'm trying. Or is that a whole different thing?
Oh, you're saying could there be other ways?
Could there be other ways of loving?
More than 5.
Yeah, and then another friend, he didn't say, but we all came to the conclusion that his love language was nicknaming people. That if he didn't have a nickname for you, he didn't love you or like you as a friend, right? And so
it's definitely not words of affirmation. I think that in that case, for that one, it's quality time, maybe.
Right?
Because this person doesn't nickname just anybody. For the most part, they've developed some kind of a relationship where they can be funny and they can nickname them and joke about it, and there's this banter. And so I think that it could be quality time in a way. But then again, I'm trying to find a way to fit it within the 5.
Right, but exactly. So I guess my question right now is, there more than 5? Obviously, we're talking about a book that someone said, "Oh my God,
there's 5.
There's
generic,
5, and
they all fall under these."
Yeah, and it. I mean, Bible says there's only 3. So, but I guess, agape.
It was
Agape, eros, and
philos.
Philos.
Philos. You're right. Unconditional infatuation and brotherly love.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I guess for me, the reason why I'm going to the 5 is like, I can't find another way to, like, do I have to learn a whole nother love language to love
5
back?
is already enough. But I mean, what I'm saying is, there are people that their love language, they might not know how it fits within the 5, but they have still a love language. They still have a love language. Like the friend that I tell you, that she, well, no friend, but my cousin, that she was telling, for me is cooking. Mm-hmm. For me is like, if I cook for you, that means something.
I love you.
I love you. And not only that, but I also want to see the reaction of my cooking. Did you enjoy it? Did you like it? Can I do something different? And if you didn't like it, I'm pretty sure she'd be like, man, like, I could have, ¿por qué no le gustó? Next time, or así, pues, ¿eh? And for the other person, the one that said that, well, not the one that said, but the one we all concluded his love language was nicknaming people. Yes, I would agree that he has to have some quality time with certain people to be able to nickname people and call them by that nickname, regardless of whether they find it funny or not. But I do think that
it's a way they express
it's endearment. It's a way of expressing endearment.
I think for me, we have to come back to, okay, what is the purpose of the 5 languages of love? And since this is the month of February and it's the month of love, the whole purpose of the book, its goal is, it's centered for all relationships, but it's obviously applied a lot to romantic relationships.
Mm-hmm. Marriage. Mm-hmm.
Its goal is to encourage the individual or the couple that you should never give up on your relationship. A lot of the times, the reason why people fall out of love is because they feel that the other person doesn't love them, or the butterflies are gone, and you don't make me feel that way you did when we were dating, and you didn't pursue me the same way that you are pursuing me when we were dating. When we were dating, you brought the sun, the moon, the stars down, and you pursued me. And so I felt love. And now that we've been married for 10 years or 15 years, I don't feel that, because all you do for me is you change, the tires, and you take out the trash, and you do this and do that. And why don't you love me? And the purpose of the book is to show you, no, he is loving you. Mm-hmm. That's acts of service. and vice versa. All she does is wash, or not that. All she does is she tells me that I'm amazing, or she tells me that, I'm a great husband, but she lacks in this area. And so the purpose of the book is to tell you, no, she is loving you. She's telling you words of affirmation. So I think the purpose of the book is to tell you, okay, 9 times out of 10, the reason why you fall out of relationships is because you stop appreciating the person for what they do, and you're putting all of your focus on what they don't do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. When you're married, there's no way that you or your spouse is going to do everything that you want them to do,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not Disney. It's not, which that's an episode coming up. It's not a fairy tale. The person isn't perfect just as much as you are imperfect. And so if you're expecting them to be an unrealistic expectation of love, and you think that's what's going to keep you committed or faithful or whatever, you are sorely mistaken.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. Maybe there are other ways of loving. Maybe there are other things. Maybe a person goes through their whole life and they never read the 5 languages of love, and they never find out what's their top. The point of this is, whoever your relationship is, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a marriage, we need to come to find, or I think you've even said it in another podcast, we need to stop looking at, oh, the grass is green over there. Oh, that friend is better than my friend. She does this for her or for me, for her, and my friend doesn't do this for me. Or, oh, look at so-and-so's husband. He buys her flowers on Valentine's Day, and my husband only takes out the trash. That's the whole point. I mentioned this a couple days ago. I was having a conversation with my family, and we were talking about, is your husband romantic or whatnot? And I said, Joel is not the kind of person that will say, you are the moon and the stars. You, you, you are this passion of mine, and
where you walk,
there's
you leave gold
and glitter. He's not going to say these poetic words, but I kid you not. Every morning that he goes to work, every single morning without fail since we've been married, not only will he kiss me goodbye and say, I love you, but he tucks me in. He will literally tuck me in. If my feet are sticking out, he'll put my feet back in, and he'll cover me, and he'll kiss me, and he'll leave. Now, to some of y'all, you might be, I prefer a new dress and some new shoes because that's your love language. But for me, those are things that I'm like, this is what my husband does.
Right.
This is what he is. And I'm going to appreciate that. I'm going to bring glory to that. I'm going to bring light to that. Because if I sit here and I'm just like, well, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, then I'm going to be in a very unhappy marriage. I need to praise what he does do and appreciate what he does do, so that I could do that. So he could do that for me as well. So I think that that's the main goal of the test of the book, of the whole point of all of this is, is there someone that you have in your life that you have now taken for granted what they do, because you're focusing more on what they don't do.
Yeah. A whole preaching right there. No, definitely. I think in life too, like when you're unhappy when you're focusing on what you don't have instead of focusing on what you do have. And so it's all about being grateful and thankful for what they do, for what you do have. And if you can work to have other stuff, then work for it. I feel like you've shared with me before that marriage has also been about learning to do things that are out of my comfort, because out of love. And now sometimes obviously it's out of love, but a lot of it I mean is about like consideration, like he's considered me before, why can't I consider him now? Or or whatever. So yeah, guys, don't think that the grass is greener on the other side, because it's not, or it could be, but they're watering it. And if you're not watering your grass, then of course everyone else's grass is gonna look greener and better, and it's gonna grow stronger and everything. But you need to water yours. We need to water our own grass for it to look as green. And then even in the process, I feel like once you start working on it, you stop comparing.
Oh yeah.
You'll stop looking at the other grass. You'll stop looking, oh, what do they have that we don't? Because then you'll start noticing, no, what I have is good. What I have is what's good for me, what I need.
Is long lasting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that, it's important to, because we've talked about this before. If you haven't seen social media, I think it's the truth about social media or something like that on our episode. And like we live in a culture where everything, and we are also guilty of it. We post everything. And because we post a happy picture of our friends, of our relationship, of our whatever, our children, our home, we assume that that person and that relationship is thriving and it's perfect, and it's like it's not, and I think that, over time, I think we talked about this morning. I've come to appreciate my relationship with Lula because of all the friendships I had in the past. I learned something with each of them that I've come to appreciate her, because back in the day, there was moments of immaturity. There were moments of just like superficial friendships of like, as long as, they remember my birthday and they gave me a gift, or as long as, they, I don't know, showed up, for like, hey, I need you to come. Like, I don't know, like you just start to think like, oh, that's what a friend looks like. That's what a friend is supposed to do. And a lot of the times I would focus on words rather than actions. And with Lula is an action kind of girl. Like, I will be there. I will never, ever, ever, like, I kid you not, guys, for when my dad passed away, there were so many times that she was just there physically, like available to me, that she didn't have to say the right thing. She didn't have to bring me a gift. She didn't have to be, look, I cleaned the office. Her presence for me was like, this is a true friend. In a moment when I was distressed, where family wasn't even available, she was there. And so over time, I've been like, this is what love looks like. This is what actually matters. This is what is actually long lasting. And so I would say, like, as we're like discussing, first and foremost, check out what your love language is. But then also, look within, friendships on TV and friendships on social media sometimes are so superficial.
Yeah.
And you think, oh my God, just because they have so many Instagram pictures with them, that means that their relationship is so close. And, even for us, you might say, oh, they have a podcast together. They know the whole book on friendship.
No.
We don't. We just had an argument on friendship. And so, like, literally what I'm saying is it's not always what it seems,
Yeah,
and you have to
no.
always work at your relationships and really see, is this really valuable? Is this really, maybe not valuable, but is this real? Or is this superficial?
Yeah.
And if it is superficial, is it superficial because of you, or is it because of them? And sometimes it's us.
Yeah.
And
do we want to keep it superficial?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to break the barrier and be like, no, you know what? I want to be deeper. I want to get deeper, and I want to have a friend, a true friend, someone that I can tell stuff, someone that can tell me like, hey,
Estás mal, bro.
Estás mal. Eso por ahí no es, and someone that has told you por ahí no es, but is still willing to watch you go through it if that's what you so choose. That it's not going to be like, oh, pues yo te dije y ya me voy. Y ahí te quedas con tu decisión. Or you make a mistake y lo que hacen es, pues yo te dije. Ajá, pues yo te dije, I told you. Don't blame it on me, y se lavan las manos, como like, I'm not here for that.
Yeah.
So, yes, let's look within ourselves to see. And yeah, like, I think we've mentioned it. I've mentioned it before. People think that we just get along just because, it's just.
If they only knew.
And truly, guys, we don't fight as much as we did like the first year or the second year. because we learned
We're learning about each
we're
other.
yeah we're learning about each other, we're adjusting with to each other, but we still have arguments. We still, I mean, yes, on Friday we had a really good one, and but
Comment down below which one do you think started the argument.
and and it's really work. And if this is work, I can only imagine what marriage, the work you put in marriage, you know? Because, I mean,
No, it's true. It's true.
a lot of the times I see our friendship like sort of me in training for a relationship, for a marriage. Because, um, you know, the whole like I'm compromising, I need to adjust the way I say things, I need to also adjust the way I receive things, I need to, you know, I need to make sure that because of my own beliefs and my own um, traumas or undealt traumas or whatever, I'm not hurting someone else.
And
Now,
I opened for me, I opened for you.
yeah, you know, it happens because we're not perfect, but how do we repair that? Right? This is so worth it that I'm going to repair it. And in the process, I'm going to be honest and I'm going to say, hey, you know what? Yes, I hurt you. I'm so sorry. It was unintentional. You shouldn't be paying for whatever I'm dealing with, but it happened and I'm really
Let's deal
sorry.
with it, yeah.
And let's deal with it. So if this is what a little bit of what marriage looks like, I thank you.
It's gonna be so much better. Trust.
I thank you.
So much better.
So much better. But okay, not to we don't, obviously we're not gonna you know, air out our dirty laundry, but I think we were trying to patch things up on Friday. I noticed something and I told you about it, and I want, and this is a free one for all of you guys. Um the biggest problem we had in this last argument was that out of consideration for each other, for the other person, we ended up hurting each other. Now, I was telling her that's a good problem.
Yeah.
It's and I'm telling you why. It's a good problem because we are considering the other person. Now, in that consideration, did we assume a certain behavior?
Yeah.
Yes. Did we make mistakes? Yes. Did we conceal things? Yes. Did we rob the other person from growing or from maybe reacting differently than we thought that person would react? Yes. But it's always a good thing. Or I would say it's a good thing in any relationship that if out of consideration you ended up hurting the other person, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you start realizing, oh, okay, sure, they assume things, sure, they whatever, but the whole point of that was they did it for me.
Yeah.
They did it out of love. They did it to consider my feelings. They did it to consider my reaction, my emotional state.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I mentioned it before. Or I mean, this what I'm about to say is a whole different topic, so I won't delve in too much into it. But for me, love is not it is about what you do for the other person and what the other person does for you, but love is also what you don't do.
Yeah.
You know, love for me is also, okay, I know this could hurt her, so I'm not gonna do it. I know this could come harsh, so I'm not gonna say it. So love is also what you don't do,
omitting
certain things, todo eso. Now, in that process, porque Dios es bueno y las cosas salen, okay, que salgan. Pero te das cuenta, she did it out of love. I did it out of love. It wasn't intentional. Nunca estuvo ahí mi intención de lastimarte, de hacerte sentir mal, or, you know, anything like that. Entonces, la otra persona dice, that is true. I didn't feel hurt on purpose. Yeah. It wasn't with ill intent. And it makes you almost sort of like forgive easier, or you know, kind of be like, you know, I mean, at the end we were laughing about it. So I think love, and all aspects, be it in friendship and being in a marriage or in a relationship, is not just about what you do for the other person, it's also about what you don't do for the other person.
And then if a relationship is real and it's not superficial, when you go through those moments where you do have a rough patch or an argument or a discussion, I think that what also has helped me in our relationship and even my marriage has been, I am so committed to this relationship that I know that yes, there might be hurt or there might be feelings of like, I can't believe this happened or this, whatever, but I'm not going to walk away, you know? And I know you're not going to walk away because there is a security in this. There is a trust. There is a faith even in that not you could love me past this because I could do whatever I want.
No.
You know, and I can hurt you and say whatever and you're going to still love me. No, but when you have security and consideration and love for the other person, you know, like the word of God says, love covers a multitude of sins. So you're like, I can trust that this person is still going to love me as I'm still growing and I'm still learning and I'm still trying to be a better friend or a better wife or a better husband. So I think that, you know, our relationship now has developed since at the beginning where those questions weren't answered yet.
No.
You were still like, I don't know if this might be the end of us. You know, you moved my pens over there, you know, that might be the end of us. But, you know, over time, you know, there's like, okay, this it bugged me, don't do it again, you know, we'll talk about it, but I'm still here. I'm still gonna support you, you know. But, you know, as we begin to close, is there anything that you want to encourage or, you know, regarding the 5 languages of love or anything regarding, you know, relationships that you think you could throw in there to help our listeners?
Yes. Take the quiz. I mean, hey, it could be like me that it's a surprise and you're like, oh wow, you know, and maybe you'll work on it or you know you'll retake
like, I'm gonna
it.
take it again.
Yeah, you'll retake it and be like, wait, why? You know, but I think it gives you self awareness, and I'm all about being self aware.
Yeah.
It gives you self awareness because it makes you realize, hey, is this truly how I give love? And if it is this truly how I receive love? And if it's not, then do I need to talk to someone about it? And I think, you know, those that love you will consider it. Those that love you will think, okay, you know, yeah, that makes sense. And especially if you're in a relationship, I think it's would be very beneficial for you to know what's my partner's love language and how can I, and if that's something I can develop,
Or
right?
adjust, yeah.
Or adjust to. And our in friendship, I think my last 2 cents would be um, we really need to learn how to love our neighbor. I don't think I think we all know that's a commandment and that we have to follow it, but I don't think a lot of us know how to actually love our neighbor like you love yourself, right? And so I think y más que no sabemos cómo amar, no creo que muchos, a pesar de que a lo mejor sabemos cómo amar, quieren hacer el trabajo. Porque es trabajo. Es trabajo amar a tu
Alguien
prójimo.
que es difícil.
Ajá, alguien que es difícil y not to point fingers, right? But definitely get in touch with that. Y also have enough self-awareness to really honestly say, I'm hard to love. I'm a difficult person. Like,
yeah, because some of us think that we're peachy and we're not.
And you know, and so
like, bro,
you know, have enough humble attitude to be like, no, sí me paso a veces. A veces digo cosas que I myself were like, okay, you know.
Oh yeah.
Si me las dijeran a mí no me gustaría. Entonces, ¿por qué las digo? And so that's all I'm saying for the end.
For the end, I think I'll just reiterate for relationships, if you're in a relationship and you're married, or if you are in that process too, um, don't focus on what they don't do. Yes, yes, I
Mm-hmm.
will say, I do think that there has to be a balance, obviously.
Oh yeah,
We
balance,
all know there
baby.
has to be a balance, like we're not preaching, okay, he doesn't he doesn't help out, he doesn't go to work, he doesn't respect me. No, obviously there are some things that we've explained this. There should be some expectations in relationships. However, if you're willing to just throw into the towel because you don't appreciate what that man does or what that woman does, that attitude is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That attitude is where you need to focus on, what can I appreciate in my partner that they really do for me,
Yeah.
And in friendships, like we mentioned, I think that if you're trying to figure out if you're in a superficial relationship, if you confront a situation and the person doesn't want to grow from it or doesn't want you to grow with them, I think that's superficial. I think anytime you feel like you can't be honest with the person and say, hey, I'm going to confront, I didn't appreciate this, I didn't like this, and the response isn't, I apologize, or let's grow from this, or thank you for giving me an opportunity to work on it. That's a superficial friendship. That is someone that doesn't want to grow. That's a
Mm-hmm.
person that just wants to joke with you, and that's okay. You got to know who those people are and who to identify. But we encourage you to take the exam. We will link it in the
Yes, please.
description. And, thank you for all your support. We have actually, Lula gets it more than I do, but we've actually had some people go up and say, hey, we love your podcast. And we're always like,
Yes.
like, oh my gosh. It's like, it's awesome to hear, but it's cringy because we're always like, oh my gosh, like they watch us.
We're
But
celebrities now.
yeah, obviously. But we do want to let you guys know we have changed the name to Relate to You Podcast.
Mm.
Not only are we more searchable now because Hear Me Out was taken, but you can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Instagram at Relate to You Podcast. And, it's still in the same theme of the goal of our relationship is always
Mm-hmm.
to relate to one another and to relate to you. So please, like and subscribe this video, comment. We want to hear from you guys, and try to follow us on all of our accounts.
All our platforms, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for everything, and God bless you.
Bye.
Bye.